Are you dreaming of visiting Switzerland? Planning a trip to Switzerland is very exciting, but it can also be overwhelming. How do you choose which of the many scenic cities, towns and villages to visit? Which mountaintop excursions should you take? And what's the best way to get around Switzerland? And of course, how much of the country can you realistically see within your time frame? If you've asked yourself any of these questions, this is the podcast for you. This is the Holidays to Switzerland travel podcast, and in each episode, your host Carolyn Schonnefinger chats with Swiss travel experts to answer your most commonly asked questions, provide practical tips, and take you on a virtual visit to the most popular destinations, and of course some hidden gems to help you plan your dream trip to Switzerland. And you'll hear plenty of conversations about Swiss cheese and chocolate too. Are you ready to plan your trip to Switzerland? Well, let's get started.
Welcome to this week's episode of the podcast. Travelling by train is a fantastic way to get around Switzerland. It's my preferred mode of transport for sure. And one of the great things about Swiss train travel is that the journey is almost always as good as the destination, if not better. A shining example is the GoldenPass Express, one of Switzerland's premium panoramic trains. It connects two of Switzerland's most popular destinations, Montreux and Interlaken, and it takes passengers on a scenic journey through the Alps, showcasing breathtaking landscapes along the way. Today I'm joined by Frédéric Delachaux from the MOB Railway Company to discover what makes the GoldenPass Express a must-ride experience. Frédéric has plenty of helpful tips for anyone planning a ride on the GoldenPass Express and on MOB's other unique train experiences, like the GoldenPass Belle Epoque, the Rocher-Denay cogwheel train, and even chocolate and cheese trains. There really is a train ride for everyone in Switzerland, as you'll learn in my chat with Frédéric. Hello, Frédéric. Thank you very much for agreeing to come onto the podcast to tell us all about the beautiful trains that the MOB Railway Company operate. Would you perhaps like to start and introduce yourself and tell us a little bit about your role with the Montreux Oberland Bernois Railway Company? It's quite a mouthful.
Hi, thank you very much, Caroline. It's a great pleasure to be here today in this podcast. My name is Frédéric. As you said, I work for the MOB Group, and I'm head of sales and marketing for the company, so in charge of the sales and all the markets, and we are delighted to be here today.
Oh, thank you so much. Now, I know that there are quite a number of trains operated by MOB, but there's one particularly famous one, which is the GoldenPass Express. And it's actually one of the premium panoramic trains in Switzerland. So would you like to tell all our listeners, especially those who aren't familiar with the GoldenPass Express, all about it?
Switzerland is the perfect place to travel by train. This is really the first thing I would like to say. And we have the chance to have the GoldenPass Express. It's a brand new train. Actually, we have launched it 2 years ago. And this train is connecting the German part of Switzerland from Interlaken to the French part of Switzerland, the area of Montreux. And it's a very scenic and iconic train because it was like the will of the pioneer of the company 120 years ago to have this train crossing the Alps and making the junction between those two language regions. And it took a very long time to do this, but finally in 2022, we had to change to launch this train. And we're going to talk about this train because it's very special. Of course, it's a panoramic train, but inside we have 3 classes, the prestige class, the first class, and the second class. I'm sure we're going to talk about it later on. And this train is also very special because it has the ability basically to go everywhere in the world because it has a variable gauges, which is something that is very unique. And we are very proud of our engineer. It's a masterpiece.
Absolutely. So previously, before this train was launched, you had to change trains in Zweisimmen, correct? Because the gauges changed in the end of Zweisimmen.
Absolutely correct. And I have to say, for the tourists that were traveling on this track, this was something which was uncomfortable because when you need to change, it's always very stressful and you need to carry on your luggage and everything. Here with the train, it's really a game changer for us because you can stay on the train and you just go through Zweisimmen and continue to Interlaken.
Wonderful. Now, it's connecting two very popular destinations in Switzerland, and I know a lot of international tourists have Interlaken and Montreux as part of their Swiss itinerary. So how long does that journey take, and what are some of the highlights of that trip?
So it takes roughly 3 hours and 15 minutes, which is the perfect time duration to enjoy the train ride. And if I take from Montreux to Interlaken, you will start from the Lake Geneva region, go through the vineyards of the Lavre area, and then we cross the Tunnel of Jamont, and you really enter in a new world. You enter into the Alps, and you go to Gstaad, which is a very famous place as well in Switzerland. It's a very tiny and nice place. I mean, this is exactly how we think Switzerland should be, chalets, mountains, cows, green places. So this is the area of Gstaad. Actually, I'm living over there, so I'm not very objective. And then if you continue, you go through Spitz, Interlaken, and you really reach the Alps. And when you arrive in Interlaken, you see those beautiful mountains from the Jungfrau area. You can go on the top of the Jungfrau as well, starting from the same station as Interlaken. So this is roughly the places you are going through.
Okay, so it sounds like it's all quite scenic. Do you think, do you have a favorite section or a section of the trip that you think is the most beautiful?
As I said, I'm not objective because I'm living over there. But yeah, probably for me, the most scenic place is the area of Château de Gstaad. This is very iconic because this is the landscape I like. There is like a perfect balance between rocks, forests, places to live, and I really like this kind of place. And I would say also one beautiful spot is, of course, when you are above Montreux. You can see Montreux from Les Avants, for example, and you see the whole landscape with the lake. This is also something very impressive.
Yeah, very nice. So if someone is starting their journey in Montreux, is there a particular side of the train that they should sit on to get the best views?
That's a good question, actually. I would say no, because there is a lot of curves. And we oftenly get this question. And the only thing is you can sit on both sides. And when you start from Montreux, there is like 5 or 6 big curves. So anyway, you will see the perfect landscape. So I would say no, both sides are nice.
Okay, excellent. So what can travellers expect on board the train in terms of facilities and services?
So first of all, the train is very cool. I mean, when you look at it from outside, when you're on the platform, it's got the colors of the Orient Express. So it's very impressive because we used to be in the past a sister company of the Orient Express. So we decided to talk those colors. The train was designed by Pininfarina, the designer of Ferrari. So it's got a really cool look, something quite futuristic. Inside the train, as I said before, there is like 3 classes, of course, the first and the second class. And we have developed only for the GoldenPass Express the new Prestige class. This is a private compartment of 9 seats in the front of the train and 9 in the back. And the Prestige class is about 45 centimeters higher than the first class. And those 45 centimeters makes a big difference. Here, you've got the window that starts here in the first class. When you're in the Prestige class, you're totally into the window. This is what we call the full immersion. And this is something very impressive, especially when you are looking at the landscape of those areas. So this is one thing. And we also have like special chair on the train, so we can rotate them in order that you are always traveling in the good direction of travel. That was something asked from our clients. They said, we love to ride trains, but I feel dizzy when I'm not on the right direction. So this is the reason why we have rotating seats on the train in the Prestige class.
Okay, so you're never traveling backwards if you don't want to.
Yeah, exactly. And I have to say, this is something very comfortable. I've been in the Prestige class many times with many clients, and all of them were saying this is very comfortable to be in the good direction of traveling. So it's something important.
I have seen photos of the prestige class, and I must say those seats look very, very luxurious. So just like you're riding in a Ferrari, I imagine.
Kind of, yeah. On Gojis, but kind of, yes. It's a very nice experience, I have to say. And we are very happy with the prestige class. It's also 9 seats for each compartment, so it gives you also a very nice sense of privacy. I mean, you're like an executive compartment. It's very similar to the business class, for example, on the airplane.
Okay. And what about the first and second class then? What are the differences between those two classes? Because I know visitors coming to Switzerland for the first time are often, wondering, why should I book first class? How does it differ from second class?
First of all, both of them are on very high standards. I mean, this is not the normal first or second class. It's a touristic train, so you will feel like anyway being comfortable on the train. The major difference between the first and the second class is for sure the space you have. If you take the seats in the second class, you will have like blocks of fours on both sides. And when you are in the first class, there's like blocks of 2 and block of 4s. So it gives you more space for the seats. The table is bigger as well. And of course, and this is not something to undermine, you have a lot of space for your luggages, much more in the first class. So my tips is, when you have the chance to travel in Switzerland, of course, it's a bit more expensive to travel in the first class, but you will feel also I would feel more relaxed because there is like more space, less people on the train, and you will enjoy also the ride.
Okay, so how about dining facilities on the train? Is it possible to get something to eat and drink?
It is on the GoldenPass Express. So we have like a catering service on the train. And of course, we offer beverages, coffee, wine, and we have also snacks. And this is something we call in Swiss German Aperoplätli. This is like dried meat with cheese and bread and everything. And this is something typical that we use to eat in Switzerland. What is very important for us, we try to be very to have like a sustainable supply chain. So we work with local products. You will find the cheese from the area of Châteaudet. You will find the meat from the area of Gstaad, the wine from the Lavo winery, the beer from Interlaken, and even the caviar. For the prestige guests who have the caviar offer, and we take the caviar from Frutigen, where there is a special place where they are growing caviar. We did only one exception, is the champagne, because our clients, they also want to have some champagne on board, so we have a French brand. But otherwise, this is a very traditional and local food of Switzerland.
Oh, excellent. So one more question I have for you before we talk about ticketing and seat reservations and so forth. If people are traveling with young children and they have a stroller, or if someone is using a wheelchair, is it easy for them to access the GoldenPass Express?
It is in the second class. In the middle of the train, we have a special carriage only for where you can put your wheelchair. So it's possible, but it's in the second class. Most of the train in Switzerland are offering this, but in second class. Just be aware of this. It's important.
All right. Excellent to know. Right. So let's talk a bit about the tickets and so forth, because that's a very important thing for people to be familiar with. I know that if they have the Swiss Travel Pass or a Berner Oberland Pass, that they can ride on the train for free. If they don't have one of those passes, where can people buy their tickets for the trip?
So you can buy a ticket online. This is something on the SBB app, or also on the gpx.swiss website or mob.ch website. You can buy the tickets over there, mostly there. You can buy tickets at the train station as well. If you're in Interlaken, in Gstaad, or in Montreux, you can go to any train station. And you can also buy the tickets in other train stations in Switzerland. If you arrive in Geneva or in Zurich and you want to buy a ticket ride from Montreux to Interlaken, you can buy it there.
Okay, good thing. So we probably should explain to people that the tickets don't have to be booked in advance. You can just buy a ticket on the day of travel, but you can also make a seat reservation if you want to actually guarantee a seat. Is that compulsory, or is it recommended for the GoldenPass Express?
It's not compulsory, but highly recommended. I've seen so many times, people coming from the SBB train on the platform and the train is fully booked. And this is a pity because if you don't have like a seat reservation, it's going to be uncomfortable for you to ride on the train. So, of course, for the first and second class, it's highly recommended to book in advance just to be sure that you have a seat. I mean, when you're traveling abroad, usually you want to be sure that you want to avoid stress and everything. So I really recommend to book in advance. For the prestige class, it's compulsory. That's the only thing. You need a first class tickets and a compulsory reservation seat.
Okay. And how far in advance can those seat reservations be booked?
So usually for FITs, we open the seat reservation roughly 90 days before.
Okay. And they can be purchased from your website as well, I
Exactly.
presume? Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. It's quite easy because you can go on the website. You've got the seat map like in the airplane, and you can choose. I want to sit here with my family, or just be careful. I give you a small tips. If you are like more than 3 people when you book the seats, the system's gonna put you maybe in different places. So just check that you're together. That's really important.
Okay, that's a good tip to know. And I will put a link to your website in the show notes for the episode so people can click through and make those reservations.
Thank you very much.
Okay, so how often does the GoldenPass Express operate every day? Are there multiple services?
Every day, 4 times from Montreux and 4 times from Interlaken. And we start at 7:30 from Montreux and takes roughly 2 hours and 15. And the last train is starting at 6 or 7 from Interlaken.
Right. Okay. So
16:07.
Yep, 4:07 p.m. Yeah. Okay. So services throughout the day. And that is 365 days a year, is it?
Yes, every day.
Wonderful. Okay. So before the GoldenPass Express was launched, there were a couple of trains operating on the same track, on the same route, let's say, the Golden Pass Panoramic and the Golden Pass Belle Epoque. Can you tell us a bit about those and how they differ from the Golden Pass Express?
Actually, I'm very lucky to work for this company, because this is terrific. When you're in Montreux, you stay on the platform and you see all those iconic trains. I mean, usually in Switzerland, trains are mostly the same with the colors and everything. And this is something very special from our company. We've got now the GPX, which is brand new. We used to have, and we still have, the panoramic trains. Used to be like the Crystal Panoramic Express. That was a train also designed by Pininfarina. And this train is particular because in the first class, you can sit in front. We have front view seats. So this is something we have launched in the 90s, and we are still operating those trains, the panoramic. And then we've got a train which is a legend. This is the Belle Epoque train. It's like you just sit on this train and you really feel being part of history. It's the Agatha Christie train. It's really like a copy of the trains we used to have in the 1920s. So those trains are riding every day on the MOB network. And for me, my favorite one, if I can tell you, is really the Belle Epoque because everything is in wood. You've got beautiful furnitures, and it's very classic and romantic at the same time because you take this train and you go to the mountain with this.
Yeah, and both those trains operate between Montreux and Zweisimmen, correct?
Exactly. Montreux, Gstaad, Zweisimmen in roughly 2 hours. And the Belle Epoque, for example, is running as well every day, and also the panoramic. So this is something special. And for the reservation, it's the same system. It's not compulsory, but highly recommended. And then if you take the Belle Epoque, especially during the summer or the high season, I really recommend to book in advance because there is like many people taking this train.
Yeah, it is, as you say, such an iconic train, and there aren't many like it elsewhere in the world. It's still operating, so it's a very special experience to ride on it.
Did you been on it?
I have, yes.
Oh,
a
nice.
couple of years ago.
How was it?
Yeah, beautiful. I love there's upholstered seats, and yeah, really, as you said, you feel like you're back in history and you're a part of it. It's great. Okay, so there's quite a few other trains that MOB operate, and another that I was lucky to have a ride on recently was the cogwheel train up to Rocheux-Denay, just out of Montreux. Can you tell our listeners what to expect on an excursion on that train?
So basically, Les Rochennais are the top of Montreux. So this is a cogwheel line. You will start at 400 meters and you will go up to 200 meters in roughly 50 minutes. So this is it's very steep. Actually, that's why we use a cogwheel train to go over there. And when you reach the top, this is probably the best view of the Lake Geneva region you will find, because we arrive from one side of the mountain, and just imagine you are on the sides of the Alps, so you've got those beautiful mountains from the Swiss Alps, and then we've got a tunnels about 200 meters. You just cross the mountain completely, and then you arrive and you are at the balcony of the Lake Geneva region, and you see the entire area, the French Alps, the Lake Geneva, the flatlands of Switzerland. And as I said, this is a beautiful view.
I'll have to believe you on that, because the day I went, unfortunately, it was raining very heavily, and it was a whiteout when we got to the top, because it was actually snowing. So yeah,
that you have to come back then.
I will. We actually went and visited Santa's house at the top, and yeah, it was obviously winter, so it was very, very snowy, and yes, a whiteout. But I have seen photos, and I can see that the view would be just amazing.
I have to say, you talk about Santa Claus. This is a very iconic product we have also going over there, in November and December. And many people are coming as well from abroad just to hop on the train, go into the mountains when it's snowing and everything. And then you just arrive over there, you cross the tunnel, and you arrive in Santa Claus office. The atmosphere is amazing.
Yeah, the train was fully booked the day we travelled, and all the children on there were so excited. It was great. Obviously parents taking their children up there, and it was great. But that train operates all year round, does it?
Yeah, usually we close in November, because we're doing beginning of November, we're doing works on the line. That's maintenance, for example. And otherwise, it's the entire year. It's a very different experience than the other train. First of all, as I said, it's a cogwheel train, so it's very steep. It's very noisy, because you're inside the train, everything is shaking, but it's part of the experience, definitely. This is something people are looking for.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, no visit to Switzerland is complete without chocolate and cheese. And I know you have a couple of trains that allow people to indulge in those delicious treats and enjoy a train ride at the same time. So can you tell us about those two journeys?
Mm-hmm. So, as you said, Switzerland is iconic for different things. But for me, one very important thing is, and I come from the mountains, so it's something that echoes to me, but it's, the cow. The cow are very important in Switzerland. We treat them very well. And with the cow, we are doing the milk. And with the milk, after you can do some cheese. And then you can do some chocolate as well, milk chocolate. And those two iconic products, we have decided to combine them in different touristic products. And one of them is chocolate train. You start from Montreux with the Belle Époque, GoldenPass Belle Époque. Then we hop on a bus from a place called Montbovon. We go to visit the Castle of Gruyere. And afterwards, we go to visit the Caillé Chocolate Factory. And we bring back the people in Montreux at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. It's a one-day trip, starting from May to September, but very interesting if you want to try and feel the Swiss culture. And especially the place of Gruyere. It's an iconic castle in the area, surrounded by mountains, and you can enjoy also a little shopping over there. There is also a cheese factory. It's a very beautiful place. And the other product we have developed as well regarding and connecting with the Swiss tradition is the cheese train. The cheese train is heading to Châteaudet, which is a beautiful place also in the Swiss Alps. And from the train station, you just walk down maybe 5 minutes and you arrive then in a cheese factory where they're going to prepare the cheese in front of you. So you're going to be part of the process. And you just stay there, sit at the table, eat a fondue, and then go back to Montreux. And this is also very appreciated because it's a mix between a train ride and immersion in the traditions of Switzerland And you also try some very good products, our local products.
Okay. And what time of year does the cheese train operate?
Cheese train is like from January to March. Then we make a break and then again in fall. So we have like 2 times every year.
Okay, great.
And the chocolate factory is during the period of May to September, roughly.
Okay. And so if people have a Swiss travel pass, do they get any discounts on those 2 excursions?
There is a discount and there is as well a special price because the ticket, of course, is not included when you have a Swiss travel pass in the package.
Okay, excellent. Well, you've certainly got a wide range of trains there for people to enjoy a ride on. Is there anything else about the GoldenPass Express or any of those other trains that we haven't talked about that you think people should be aware of?
Just watch out the timetable. This is very important. In Montreux, in Gstaad, or in Interlaken, there is a lot of connections. And sometimes people are coming from Geneva or they're coming from Interlaken. And just be sure that you've got a connection. This is something very important. Usually from Montreux, we have a train starting Panoramic or Belle Époque every hours. So even if you skip 1 hour, it's not a big problem, but just check to be sure, because sometimes people are surprised because they need to wait a little bit. So I would say very important to check. And in Switzerland, you can go on the SBB apps and check the timetables, and everything is done to facilitate the travel. So it's very easy.
Yeah, absolutely. Excellent. Well, thank you so much, Frédéric, for coming onto the show and telling us all that information. I know that a lot of people want to include the GoldenPass Express in their travels, whether they're doing the whole grand tour of Switzerland or whether they're just doing, part of the trip and visiting those iconic destinations, Montreux and Interlaken. So that information will be super helpful for them.
Thank you very much, Caroline, for your help and so for the nice interview. And welcome to everybody on the MOB line.
Thanks very much. I think you'll agree a ride on the GoldenPass Express is a journey not to be missed when visiting Switzerland. Whether it's the stunning scenery, the luxurious amenities, or the seamless connections between the German and French-speaking parts of the country that appeal to you, this train ride offers a truly memorable experience. And with additional options like the nostalgic Belle Époque train or the cogwheel train up to Rocherdonnet, the MOB Railway Company offer a unique rail experience for every traveller. To help you plan your journey on the GoldenPass Express or any of the other trains that we've discussed today, I'll include links to all the resources Frédéric mentioned, including timetables and seat reservation info, in the show notes for this episode. You can find the show notes at holidaystoswitzerland.com/episode 128. Thank you so much for joining me today. If you've enjoyed the podcast, please consider sharing it with your friends and family and colleagues who are planning a trip to Switzerland. And if you enjoy the show, I'd be super grateful if you could leave a 5-star rating or review wherever you listen to podcasts. Thanks so much. Until next week, tschüss!
She lived with you guys for 2 years, and you never heard from her again after that.
Please don't text me or call me again.
She'd finished her art history degree and was researching a Swiss painter, Ursula Blum.
He's standing by a tree, looking right at me.
Emma!
Music is 100% abstract.
Ursula walked up to her and whispered a song in her ear, and the girl recovered her ability to speak.
Sometimes mythology merges with reality.
What's going on here?
Bloom is out now. Find out why this audio thriller is taking the podcast world by storm. Available on your favorite platform. That's Blum.com.